First things first, let us start by understanding the network hardware. Your home network consists of number of hardware devices, including the modem, the router, the switch, the wireless access point, as well as the Ethernet cables. Let us start and understand these components one by one. The modem is the first device in your network. The modem stands for modulator plus demodulator. Computers talk in digital language, which is zeros and ones. To transmit information over the wire, you need to convert that digital language into analog form. A modulator does that. And once you receive information over the internet, you need a demodulator to convert that analog signal into digital, which the computer can interpret. So the modem acts as a modulator and a demodulator, and it helps converting digital signal to analog to transmit over the wire, as well as once it receives the information, it demodulates the analog signal into digital for the computer to receive. There are different kinds of modems. You have the DSL modem, you have the cable modem, you have the fiber optic modem. While shopping for a modem, always check for the channels. Most modems will have 8 to 16 downstream channels, as well as 4 to 8 upstream channels. And also make sure your modem supports the latest DOCSIS standards, and also check the maximum download and upload speeds of your modem, and make sure that they take full advantage of your internet plan. Most internet service providers also provide a modem for free. If your internet service provider doesn't give you a modem for free, start from their website to get the list of compatible modems, and you could purchase one from the list. Next comes our router. If you have more than one device in your home, then you need to route traffic between the devices. A router can be wired or wireless. Let us look at the various functions of the router. The router has several built-in services, like it has DHCP, which stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. It also does DNS resolution. It also hosts the HTTP server for the router management portal. It also acts as a firewall. It also has a switch. It also has a wireless access point. Let us go through all these functions one by one. Let's start with DHCP. It stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. If you have 10 devices in your home, each device, when they connect to the router for the first time, they will request for an IP address. The router assigns a unique IP address to each of the devices. That way all the devices in your home can connect among each other, as well as they can connect to the internet and receive the traffic accurately to that particular IP address. Next we have the DNS. Once you type google.com or yahoo.com, we have to convert that domain name into the appropriate IP address. It is called domain name resolution. So the router uses the DNS servers, and it converts the domain name into the appropriate IP address. All routers also have this router management portal, where you can go log in and change the default username, password, change the Wi-Fi name, and set up additional Wi-Fi networks. It is hosted within the router. And the router also has the firewall, which blocks external unauthorized connections inside your home. And the router has a number of Ethernet ports. Usually they'll have anywhere between 1 to 4 Ethernet ports. So the router also acts as a switch, and it will you can connect your computers and laptops directly to the Ethernet ports. And the router will also have a wireless access point based on the type of device you have purchased. If you have purchased a wireless router, you will have a wireless access point built in, and you can connect your wireless devices like mobile phones and other devices using the Wi-Fi network. So these are the various functions of a router. If you are in a small or medium-sized home, if you buy a powerful router, just this router itself would be sufficient to serve all the devices in your home, because as you see, the router has all the features packed in it for a small home network, like the DHCP, like the switch to connect your wired devices, and it also has a wireless access point to connect to your wireless devices, and it also has an inbuilt firewall. So this would be all you need if you're in a tiny apartment. This will serve most of your networking needs. We talked about the modem and the router. Often internet service providers combine both the modem and the router into one single unit called the wireless gateway. So if you have been given a wireless gateway from your service provider, you don't have to purchase a separate router. It has a inbuilt router. Packing everything into one single device means it offers very least flexibility, and it is also highly unstable. If you got this device for free from your service provider, it's fine. If you're purchasing a brand new device, always stay away from the wireless gateway devices. Also, if you're into serious home networking, by all means purchase a good quality modem and a good quality router by yourself, and try to avoid the outdated equipment provided by your service provider. If you lease a device from your service provider, it means the ISP owns the device and they have total control on it. They can remotely turn it on or off without your approval. Leasing a router for $10 a month seems like an innocent amount apparently. But if you do the math, you would be spending almost $5,000 over 20 years. So it's a no-brainer to purchase your own modem as well as your own router. By all means, avoid leasing equipment from your internet service provider. Next in the list is the switch. Consider switch as an Ethernet extender. Our router consists of 1 to 4 Ethernet ports. Imagine if you are in a big house and if you have to run Ethernet cables to all the rooms in the house, 4 ports are not sufficient. Then you will have to purchase a switch. For example, if you purchase a 32 port switch, you will plug in the Ethernet cable into the switch, and you can run 32 wires into 32 rooms of your house or into 32 different devices. A switch is an intelligent device. It interprets the incoming request and it identifies the end client for that request, and it routes that request to that particular client. Next in our list is the wireless access point. The wireless access point, as the name implies, it creates a plain simple wireless network. If you are in a small apartment, you can just use a wireless router and it will create a wireless network for you, which is sufficient for a small apartment. If you are in a big house with multiple rooms in it, then a wireless router cannot cover the entire area of the home. You will have to purchase multiple wireless access points. Each wireless access point will create a Wi-Fi network of its own, and each of these wireless access point will in turn run an Ethernet cable, and it will plug into the router. So the wireless access point will just create a wireless network. It will do nothing else. So it will not do any kind of routing, it will not do any kind of DHCP, or it will not do any kind of DNS resolution. It will just create a plain simple wireless network. Next is our Ethernet cables. Ethernet cable is the lifeline of a home network. You need an Ethernet cable for all wired connections. You need an Ethernet cable to connect between modem and router, router and switch, as well as a switch and a wireless access point. You will also need these Ethernet cables for your desktop computer to connect to the router. They are also commonly called as CAT cables or RJ45 cables or LAN cable or Ethernet cables.